All right, so giving a lot of information about the why, I'm hoping that you're following along, you're understanding the basic concept of what's a last will and testament, power of attorney for care, and power of attorney for property. And so that's some of the documents that form part of your estate planning success and progress. But too far often, for whatever reasons, there's people tend to have misconceptions as to why or whether or not estate planning applies to them. And for some people, it's cultural, right? For some people, it's, there's an anxiety that comes with sitting down and thinking about what's gonna happen when I'm not there. In some cultures, talking about wills and estate is almost wishing death upon the person. But we're gonna try and demystify some of the misconceptions that we see often regarding estate planning. So the first one, estate planning is only for the wealthy. And because maybe in the word estate, you're thinking about these vast domains in the UK with like a big castle, and that's an estate. And if I don't have an estate that big and that wide, then why should I bother about estate planning? And regardless of the size of your estate, making the decisions that are gonna give you control about what happens when you're no longer there is really what should be in the forefront of your mind. It's not so much a matter of the size of your estate, but the fact that you want to have control over what may happen to it when you're no longer there. We talked about healthcare, especially if you have children, and more so if you have many children and different assets in different locations. You're just planning so that it's easier on the people that are left alive when you're not there. So no, estate planning is not only for the wealthy, it's for anyone and everyone who cares about their loved ones, okay? Let's go to misconception number 2. A will is enough. Okay, so a will is a good start to an estate planning, but there could be it's one of the many aspects. But what you need to think about is have a comprehensive approach. That's why when you sit with a lawyer, most of them will ask you if you have an accountant, if you have a financial planner. They're gonna ask you questions to ascertain what, if any, documents beyond your will do you need to keep in consideration. They're gonna ask you about TFSAs, retirement assets, any and every aspect of what could form part of the estate to bring you to think about it in a very comprehensive manner. And for those of you that are joining from Gatineau on the Quebec side, the province of Quebec has been a bit more forthcoming when it comes to assisting people who want to die, right? There's laws that have been enacted so that there's a way that it's done. And it's not so clear in Ontario just yet. And so that's why, it's an important conversation to have as to whether or not maybe a health directive is a document that you would want to add to your the full estate planning. So you want to be sure that all these additional documents are respected and that you would consider all and every scenario that can present themselves. Not to say that we can predict the future, but an experienced lawyer will be able to extract from the conversation what are your needs and provide solutions to that. Okay, number 2, estate planning is a one-time task. Okay, I met with you, Mike, we've done everything, boom, I'll see you never. Well, it's not really the way to think about it because life happens, right? And if there's anything that I want you to keep from tonight is to think about every major changes in your life that may prompt the need to review an estate plan or estate planning. The most common would be if you're single and now you get married. Well, that is a major change in your life. And maybe you had a will as a single person and now you want to consider what that will looks like as a married person, right? And then once married, well, now there's kids. Okay, and then everything we talked about, maybe guardianship and distribution become new questions to you. And so my advice to clients that we interact with is to keep it an evergreen document. It might be that once every year or 2 year, you want a quick touch up with your lawyer that did your will to make sure everything is okay. Does something need to be amended? And generally speaking, when there's that that trust that's being built between the lawyer and the clients, then we take great joy on seeing these clients come back and providing them with additional services to just keep estate planning fresh and alive for them. Another misconception: estate planning is too complicated and too expensive. And yes, it'd be false to say that the prospect of thinking about all these questions is not daunting. Yes, there's an element of that can be troubling for a multitude of reasons. And that's why if you work with a lawyer that offers you the proper guidance, our job is to make it a straightforward process for you. And if I take that as an example, when we meet clients that need real estate services and they come into our office and we're signing a litany of documents, and my goal is to make sure that at the end of that meeting, they understand real estate a bit more. The same applies when it comes to will. My goal is to simplify your understanding of the documents we're signing. And that's done with the assistance of my lovely clerk, Allison, and the whole team. But essentially, the point is, it shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't be daunting. And an experienced lawyer would know what good question to ask, would know how to extract the information and really walk you through a seamless process. And I believe we have such a process at Nungisa Law. Make the complex simple. That's what we aim to do. And I'm too young, right? There's a forever 21 perhaps mentality that some of us carry, that I'll do it tomorrow. I don't need that right now. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, life can be unpredictable. And if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And so never consider yourself too young to think about putting together some time to sit down and think about estate planning. It might mean that there's not a whole lot to consider, but with what you have, it's not a bad exercise, but to turn your mind to that. Okay, so, and for your information, in Ontario, the youngest that you have to be able to draft will and power of attorney for care and property is 18 years old. Okay, so technically 18 and up, it's fair game. And if you fall into that category, then for sure this message is for you. And also, like anything, once you do it early, it makes it easier. Right? It's always easy to catch, and I know it's an example, I don't want to trigger anyone who may have a family who had cancer, but if you do the screening early enough and then treatment comes into a process early enough, then maybe the road to recovery is easier. And maybe that's a figure of speech to keep in mind for estate planning. I also give the example of, for my fellow Ottawans that are so happy to be coming back working downtown. If you're like me, parking is always troublesome. And you may, take the view that whatever, I'm just gonna park and, I'm gonna deal with the consequence. And then you come back to your car and then there's that white and blue sheet that says that you have to pay a fine of $55 to the city of Ottawa. So what's less costly? Is it the $7 that you have to use your credit card to pay for 2 hours, or the fine of $55 that you have to pay to the city? And a friend shared with me today that in 2023 or 2022, the city collected something around 25 million in fines. So do we pay the fine or do we pay the parking? Don't quote me on this, I'm going off top memory, but they've made money. Okay, so think about the example of the fine or the parking fee. What we're doing with estate planning is paying the parking fee so we don't have to deal with the fine later on.